Okay, there we go. All right. Hello, everybody. All newcomers, it's great to have you today. My name is Austin Huber. I'm an admission counselor with UNC Asheville, and it's my pleasure today to talk to you guys about student life. So I really wanted to hop on this one just as a former student, as an alum of the university. I thought it'd be really cool to hopefully hop in on some of the questions and answers, of course, on some of the answers. I'll be delivering the questions. And giving you some of my experience as well as our panelists who are current students. I'll go ahead and start letting them introduce themselves. Whoever wants to go first. There we go.
Okay, I guess I can start. My name is Jenny. I am a junior here at UNC Asheville. I am a music major. And some things I'm involved in around campus other than the ambassador program is that I'm in the scholarship string quartet at our school. I'm in one of the two a cappella groups, and I am the president of our music and life and poetry club.
Hi guys, I'm Maggie. I am an environmental studies major with an earth science concentration, and I also have a chemistry minor. I am in Wesley's lead team. Wesley is a campus ministry that we have. It is Methodist based. I am also an RA, which is a resident assistant. I'm kind of like the mom of the hall.
Hey, I'm Allison. I'm an interdisciplinary studies major, and I'm doing a concentration in ethics and social institutions. So I kind of get to pull from different subjects to create my own major, which is kind of cool. I'm a sophomore, and I'm also a part of Asheville Wesley outside of ambassadors. I've been their intern this past semester, which has been a lot of fun. And I love being a part of that campus ministry. And I have also worked for the Student Environmental Center my freshman year.
Hey y'all, my name is London Newton. I am the student body president for this year, and this is...
Hey, I'm Sean Miller. I'm the co-director of the Student Environmental Center.
Oh, I'm majoring in political science, double minoring in mass comm and legal studies.
And I'm doing interdisciplinary studies. I'm doing an individual degree program with international human and environmental rights law.
And we both use she, her pronouns.
Hey guys, my name is Justin Condry, and I'm a senior atmospheric science major with a weather forecasting concentration. On campus, other than ambassadors, I work for emergency management. So I work with the emergency manager on campus to help with weather-related stuff, as well as sometimes campus police. I also work a little bit in our department, in the atmospheric science department, with some of the more outreach type stuff, so I can always help you with that.
Hey everyone, my name is Camden. I am a junior studying arts management and entrepreneurship. My art is video media production. I also have an internship working for dining services on campus. I've been an RA before as well. And I'm a two-time intramural champion, so yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. So I guess I'll throw in a little bit of what my experience was like and what I was involved in. So I started working for Campus Rec my freshman year. I was with them for about a year and took a break, and then I came back as a lifeguard, and I moved up to be a supervisor while I was there. So I worked a lot in my time in school. I had a few clubs that I was involved in, but I really just had to make that money to pay for books and for school, you know. So I'm glad we have a lot of diversity here, and I can hear more about what the clubs were like on campus since that wasn't entirely my experience. But anyway, that's a great segue to the first question that we have. So my first question is, how easy is it to get involved in clubs as a first year student?
So I at least found that my freshman year, it was super easy. So I immediately joined like 2 or 3 clubs. I'm still actually a member regularly. I'm actually on the leadership board of the 2 of them that I joined. The student union and the like student organizations, which is the part of the student union that controls all 70 plus of the organizations that we have throw a student involvement fair at the beginning of every semester. And so essentially all the clubs are invited to come and table. Students are allowed to kind of walk through. Some clubs will hand out candy and cookies, others will hand out like flyers. And so it's really, really easy to just kind of like walk around and like have a bunch of clubs just kind of be like, hey, we're here. And it's just like all of them are right in front of you.
Anybody else want to weigh in? Or is that's pretty good?
Hey, so I'm actually a first year student right now. And within this last year, I've not only become part of clubs, like I'm part of, I think like 4 different clubs, and then also just like being involved with the student environmental center was really easy. I definitely think it's really easy to like plug yourself in. People are really friendly and warm here, and it's super easy to get involved since it is a smaller campus. And yeah, so I'm at the end of my first year, and I'm in a leadership position in 2 clubs and 1 organization. So I definitely think it's easy as long as you put yourself out there.
And I also, if you guys look at the Q&A answered thing, I put a link to Presence, which is like the software we use for all of the clubs and like event stuff. And so when you get on campus, you'll download an app called UNCA Now, and that's where you'll see like all the times for the clubs that we have and like any events that are happening on campus. And you'll get like points and stuff for going to those. And the points will go towards like winning things. So they do like an auction at the end of the semester. I got my freshman year, the first semester, I got a Kindle Fire Stick, and then I got a betting set, and then I got a Nintendo Switch Lite, all because I went to events that like you're already paying for to happen. So it's super easy to get involved in like the clubs and everything. And if there's ever a club that you're not seeing, it's really easy to get one started. So there's really no reason to not be like involved in what's going on campus.
And in case anyone was wondering, the requirements to start a club, because I'm actually going through this right now. I'm actually trying to start a food allergy and dietary restrictions kind of like awareness club, and it is 7 students and a faculty advisor, I believe, is the minimum requirements for a student organization on campus.
Very cool. Great information to have for sure. So there's definitely support if you want to start your own club and you don't see something that has already been started before. So thank you for that. That was definitely a good point. Aside from the ones that were listed, there's also sport clubs. If you're a very athletic related person and you want to be over at Campus Rec, they've got equestrian or Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and your more traditional things, I guess, like basketball and soccer. So there's a lot to do, whether it's more interest-based, academic-based, or something around sports. So kind of going off of that again a little bit, what are some of y'all's favorite things to do on or off campus?
I really like going to the botans. So the botanical gardens are behind Founders Hall, Mills Hall, and around the ridges. So they are like basically gardens that the university takes care of. There's a little river creek like thing going through the middle of them. It's really nice during the day and during the springtime. I would highly recommend going there if you get the chance. They're really great. It's a really great place.
I know that one of my I have my 2 kind of favorite things to do. The first one is a little bit more niche. It's a little bit more nerdy. I'm a violinist, and the Asheville Symphony is a fantastic symphonic orchestra based in downtown Asheville. And students actually qualify for student rush tickets, where for the last 30 minutes before the concerts, students can get like $10 tickets to see like a professional symphony, which is like so amazing. I don't know, I just really love doing that. And like it's like maybe like once or twice a month. I go with a bunch of my friends. It's really cool. And then the second thing is the Parkway. I love the Parkway and going and driving on the Parkway and or just like even just parking and like hiking, or like parking and putting out a blanket and just like looking at like the view and the stars. It's just so pretty. I love it.
My favorite thing to do off campus is definitely hiking. There's a lot of good trails around here. Black Balsam is my favorite. If you're ever come around here, check it out, please. And then on campus, we kind of already talked about this. I definitely mentioned I'm a 2-time intramural champ, but we have really cool different types of intramurals. The one that I do is intramural inner tube water polo. And so there's a lot of like very unique sports like that that are pretty fun on campus.
I also just kind of love getting out and exploring the Asheville area. The Parkway is so close. That's one of my personal favorite activities. On campus, there's a bunch of the like Eno Nest hammock things where you can like set up your hammock without even using straps. They're like all over campus, and I love just going and laying in my hammock, studying, hanging out with friends, that sort of thing. There's lots of fun places on campus to kind of get outside for a bit, and so I really enjoy doing that.
Something that me and my friends have been doing that's like kind of a tradition is like either going and walking around downtown and just like finding a restaurant we haven't gone to before, which the bus will take you to that's on campus, or there's like this breakfast place called Rise and Shine that's right by the like CVS on campus, and you can walk there and it takes like 11 minutes and it's like a good walk where it's like you feel like you did something but like you really didn't. And we'll go there and get breakfast and it's really good. So there's a lot of food around Asheville, so it's like really easy to like walk around and find things to eat.
My favorite place my favorite place to go to like study and do homework that's not on campus, like the times where I just like cannot be on campus anymore, I'll go to Dobra, which is a tea house. It's super chill, it's really relaxed. They have a huge assortment of tea and stuff, and it has a really nice environment, and it's really, really good to study in. So that's what I do off campus a lot of the times. And then on campus, I'm a little biased, but I like our campus gardens. I'm always in the gardens, and I think a lot of people don't realize that anyone, I mean, obviously not right now, but in a normal environment, anyone can be in the gardens volunteering or just hanging out. Like we have benches in all the gardens, so you can come study or read or whatever. And yeah, if anything is growing, you can harvest it if you want. So that's really cool too.
We grow like blueberries and strawberries and apples and cabbage,
all
and
kinds of produce and herbs and stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome. So how about like a couple other options for downtown? So there's a great food scene downtown, which is wonderful. Whether you like brunch, lunch, or dinner. Of course, there's just an ample amount of choices. I haven't even eaten at all the restaurants that there are around. But so when it comes to getting downtown, that we have an agreement with the city of Asheville and the bus system where you just show your one card and then you can hop on the bus and get where you need to go, whether it's downtown or East Asheville, West Asheville. You have to navigate a little bit, and you can use the maps that we have on our website or on the City of Asheville website. But it's pretty easy. It's not too bad. It's usually pretty consistent, which is great, especially if you're using that to rely on getting to work or you need to go to the post office or something like that. But are there any other things you guys like to do downtown? So I know we talked about food, but what about like music and art and things like that?
So one of my favorite music venues is actually downtown. Well, there's so many music venues downtown. I know that a lot of my friends and peers in the music department play at the block off Biltmore, as well as Asheville Music Hall. I think there's a couple of, I can't remember the name of the specific bars, but there's like a couple of bars right off of like Pack Square that I've had a lot of friends that have gigs at. And then the weekly jazz jam at Barley's Tap House. It's a pizza place. It's like right by the Lazoom room, like just down the street from Pack Square. Which is really, really fun. Jazz normally isn't my scene, but it's just like a great social environment. I also really like taking walks around Pack Square and that kind of main part of the back end of downtown with my boyfriend and the puppy. It's just always like it's like a quieter place of downtown that's like not so traffic filled. And so it kind of like, it's kind of trippy because like you're downtown and you're like in a city, but it's like quiet, like you aren't. So yeah.
There's also an art museum in downtown Asheville that just reopened in this winter, and UNC Asheville students actually can get in for free with their one card, which is a lot of fun. There's lots of cool things in there. Like you could spend hours and still not like take everything in to the full extent. So that's a lot of fun to kind of go with friends and just kind of check it out. There's also lots of really cool shops in downtown Asheville to go into. They're local. We love supporting local businesses. So lots of fun things to do.
Just one last thing about music. So there are tons of like locations where there's like local musicians playing, but we do also have two bigger venues, the Orange Peel and the US Cellular Center, where like more mainstream artists will come. And that's downtown as well.
Yeah, I swear I saw King Princess was at the Orange Peel, and you can literally take the bus to get to that. To kind of address Michaela's question, you can go pretty far from the bus, but like it's a bit of a process. Like if you are willing, like I had a day where I was like, okay, I'm chilling, like I'm okay with kind of ending up wherever I end up. I just like got on the bus and like left with my friends and like it was fine. But like if you were to want to get somewhere where you'd have to get on a highway, usually it's gonna be a longer like workaround trip. But downtown, which is where like most of the things you might need, like if you need to go to a government building, you'll just take the bus that's like right by downtown. If you need to go to the Orange Peel, most of the restaurants, like if you need to go get a prescription, you can take the bus to get there in like 10 minutes. So most of the time you won't be taking a super long bus ride unless you're feeling like doing that. But you can take like a 45-minute bus ride to the mall if you really want to.
Yeah, so there's as far as the city of Asheville bus system goes, there's the north 1 and 2 lines that run immediately off of campus and through in the downtown kind of North Asheville area. And then downtown there is the Asheville Public Transportation Art Center, where essentially it's a larger scale bus station that you can transfer onto one of the other lines, whether it be the south, west, or east bus lines.
And Asheville is also a very Uber and Lyft friendly place when there's not a pandemic going on. But it is easier to get from A to B if you have kind of a time crunch and you know exactly where you need to go. Uber and Lyft, it's super friendly on our campus for sure. So let's jump to a new topic really quick. Let's talk about meal plans. So kind of like how have you all decided which meal plans to get? If you can kind of describe the different tiers and maybe like what works best for student A versus student B.
Yeah, so I can do that one. There are like 5 meal plans or something like that, and they all have a mix of declining balance, meal swipes, and meal equivalencies. So the way that breaks down is meal swipes would be in the main dining hall. That would be Brown Hall. That's buffet style. You swipe in, you eat as much as you want, and then once you leave, you'd have to swipe back in. Meal equivalencies can take the spot of those meal swipes. So let's say you just don't want Brown one day, and you'd rather go to Highsmith or Down Under or something like that. There's a meal equivalency designated menu that you have to choose from. Those usually, you'll be full anyways. It's not like you're not going to have enough food. They're like burgers, fries, and a drink, or on Fridays they do chicken tenders, fries, and a drink. So you'll have enough food. And then declining balance is where you have basically a debit card on your one card. So depending on what meal plan you pick, depends on what amount of each you get. So the lowest one with declining balance would be 21 meals a week, which is 3 meals a day, 5 meal equivalencies, and $75 in declining balance. And then the highest declining balance would be 7 meals a week, 3 meal equivalencies, and $600 in declining balance. Then they have kind of a spread between each one. So you might have 14 meals a week or 10 meals a week, and then $300 or $200 in declining balance. I always suggest for freshmen coming in, select a middle meal plan. Don't set yourself too much to meal swipes, and don't set yourself too much to declining balance, because you do need to try to figure out which one you like the best. I made the mistake coming in my freshman year, and I picked 21 meals a week and $75 in declining balance. And at the end of the semester, I was so tired of eating in the same place over and over again and not really having the option to eat elsewhere on campus. So you may get to campus and have a middle of the ground meal plan and say, oh, I love eating in Brown, so I want to change my meal plan to the next semester to 21 meals a week. Or you might say, like, I like eating in Highsmith and I want to maybe cook a little bit on my own, or I don't really eat breakfast. Then maybe you want to go towards 7 meals a week or 14 meals a week. That way you kind of can figure that out. But you do get to change your meal plan every semester. So once you've picked a meal plan, it's usually after, I think, 5 days on campus, your meal plan is going to lock in and you cannot change it anymore after that. You'd have to wait until the following semester to change it. All meal plans cost the same amount of money, so you don't have to worry about what's more affordable or anything like that. You're going to pay the same no matter which one you pick. So I hope that kind of clarifies. I know there was a lot of questions on meal plans in the Q&A.
Very cool.
To
Thank
kind
you.
of, oh,
Go
sorry.
for it. No, go for it.
To piggyback off of what Justin said, another thing that at least that what I did is when I was first coming to campus, I looked at essentially what I had time in my schedule for. Did I have enough time in my schedule for 3 sit-down meals a day, for 2 sit-down meals a day? Like, did I have essentially, with my class and workload, could I afford to sit down and eat for like 30 to 45 minutes to have like a nice, relaxing sit-down meal in the dining hall? Or did I need to do something that was a little bit more on the go? Is another thing that you can take into consideration.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you, guys. So let's touch a little bit on the Health and Counseling Center. So what have your experiences been, whether you've just gone in with a cold or you've gone into the counseling side? Can you guys touch on that a little bit?
Hey, could I say one more thing about meal plans real quick?
Go for it.
So I just sent a link to respond to someone's question about where meal plans are located. So I just sent a link to Dine on Campus, and at the very top left, it says meal plans, and you just press on that. Anyways.
Awesome. Thank you.
As far as health and counseling goes, I've had a relatively positive experience. Definitely when it gets busy, it's like a busy doctor's office. But for the most part, it's been really positive experiences. The staff is really nice. The way that they check in with the computers is really, really straightforward. Yeah, I don't have much experience just because I have family in the area who I'm like, hey, I'm going to go utilize the Health and Counseling Center. And then my grandmother's like, no, you're not. I'm going to steal you. But when I've had good experiences.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit more about health and counseling, more about the health side of the health and counseling. I've had to go there for checkups and different things that's happened, and they're really good about trying to help you out. Obviously, they're going to let you know if something that you're doing is going to cost. They're not going to do anything unless you know that. But they do a lot of services that are for free. You can go get checked up, or if you want to go talk to someone about an issue that's going on health-wise, I don't know about the counseling side, but health-wise, you can go talk to someone and get advice on something that's not going to cost you anything at all. And then if you needed prescriptions, they can write that and you can pick them up at CVS. Of course, that would be where it starts costing, but they'll let you know all of that kind of stuff. And the check-in, like Jenny said, the check-in is super easy. They make it not hard unless I'm a twin. So the way they had the login was you had to do your first initial and your last name and then your birthday. Well, when you're a twin and you have the same first initial, that's a little bit of a problem. So we actually talked to them about that, and they actually changed that because they didn't think about twins. So they're very accommodating, and they love to talk too.
So,
sorry, London.
You're good, Maggie. You can go.
Okay, so I went to the Health and Counseling Center with bronchitis my freshman year, and I called them and I got a same-day appointment. They were super helpful. I didn't have to pay for the actual appointment. All I had to pay for was the actual medication. And they had where you could get it like in their house pharmacy, and they also had it where you could go to CVS, which is like down the road. You can take a shuttle there. It's really quick. So it's a really, really nice process. It literally took like an hour out of my day, and that was it. You can take a shuttle to the Health and Counseling Center, so you don't have to like walk all the way there. But you could also walk all the way there. It's not that far. So go ahead, London.
So I've worked pretty closely with Jay Kutzbeck, who runs our Health and Counseling Center, and he is like sweetest man you'll ever meet in your life. Like, I love him. And so like, I would say, I also have friends who are wellness coaches, which are like students, that kind of do like advice things. Like if you don't need therapy, but you just need like someone to talk to, someone to help with like wellness and stuff, that'll be someone that you could go to. We have counselors that you would be able to see every 2 to 3 weeks. Like you're not going to be able to get like the weekly counseling that you might be getting at home. If there's an emergency, they will fit you in, and I've seen them do it before with counseling appointments. But and they'll help you find a counselor that's like in the area that could see you every week if you need to do that, and like help you like match up your insurance and everything. But I would make sure that if you like have been doing weekly counseling or something that's like way more consistent, that you would try to like start figuring that out earlier, because it is going to be hard to fit things in. We have some of the most, like we have like the most counselors that you could have like compared to all UNC system schools. And I've like seen them, and I've like talked to their student body presidents and their student governments. And like, we have more counselors at our school than schools that have 20,000 people in them, but it still is just like, it's never going to be enough. So I would say like, go and get the resources you need, but like make sure that if you need to have like super weekly ones, talk to them first, see if that's going to be available, or figure out something off campus, which again, like they will help you do.
One other thing about health and counseling, I just remembered this and I actually pulled it up. If you were to go to the health and counseling website, and if it's after their hours or whatever, and you needed to talk to someone, I'm pretty sure counseling has the same thing. They do have, for help on the health side, they have a nurse on call that you can call and talk to them about whatever's going on if you need advice, and then they can let you know you'll be fine to wait until the morning until we open, or no, why don't you go ahead and go to the hospital or something like that. So we do also have that available when they are not in the office.
Awesome. Thank you guys for enlightening us on that. Let's talk a little bit, I guess it's going to be pretty brief, but how about parking on campus? So coming this fall, first years can bring cars to campus and actually park on campus. What has your experience been with parking? I know what mine was. It was decent. There was usually spots. Actually, there were always spots, just maybe not exactly where you wanted them to be. But there's always a place to park your car. So what about you all?
I currently live off campus, and one thing that I found is that there's always a place to park. You're just going to be walking. And if you don't want to walk, get to class early. That's just how it is. And I feel like that's true for most, like whether you work if you work a certain place, or just like, I don't know. I just feel like it's relatively normal in other aspects of life.
I lived in Southridge for 4 years. And so I've been a residential student, not having to really worry about commuting. And I will say there are times that, like, do not leave the parking lot. Otherwise, you're going to have to go park at the off parking area and have to walk back to your residence hall. You kind of get the feel of those times and those dates. The weekends are more open parking because people might go home. So, like that's when you should do grocery shopping and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's not bad. You just have to figure out what's best. It might feel like you're being inconvenienced, but the reality is your parking pass isn't that much money, so it's not going to hurt you to walk.
Yeah, so I live in Westridge, and I have my car on campus, and I'm an out-of-state student, so I don't go home over the weekends. So that is really nice, having a parking spot right next to the building. But yeah, it's not that bad. I mean, like, so yes, there are times where it's going to be hard trying to find parking, and I have had many nights where I've come back and there have been no spots whatsoever except for at the very bottom of the hill. But the really nice thing is that Campus Police is always more than happy to offer you a ride up the hill or back to your dorm, wherever you need to go. So that has been really nice. And that's definitely something that I've utilized a few times, because, you know, if you get back late because you went to a show or something, and then parking like pretty far away from campus, it can be a little, you know, it's just, you know, a little uneasy, but yeah, it is really nice having Campus Police being able to drive you back. So
yeah, and the same thing if you like happen to get lost downtown and then not know that the bus was going to stop running because it was a Sunday. Not that I've ever done that before, but Campus Police will either pick you up or like send a taxi to get you. You get, I believe, 3 free rides a semester when you're a freshman, and then I think it moves down to like 2 when you're an upperclassman. So you should know better. And so, yeah, if you ever feel like you're unsafe, like I've had Campus Police escort me at 4:15 in the morning because I was a night assistant and I was in Founders and I didn't want to walk back by myself at 4:30 in the morning. Like, I feel safe on campus from people, but like bears, you know? So I just wanted someone to be with me at 4 in the morning.
Awesome, thank you. So, you know what, that'd be a really good segue just for like a really quick tangent. So Campus Police, they're always patrolling, they're always on campus, always around to help, whether you locked your keys in your car or your battery's dead in your car, what have you, or if you need, you just want someone to walk with you to get across campus at night or what have you. So they're a great resource. Make friends with them. They're here to help you and protect you, of course, and keep you safe. So say hi to them whenever they're around, and yeah, they'll take care of you.
When I first moved to North Carolina after I started school here, it was like the first time in my life I've ever had problems making friends. And so I was just sitting by myself at lunch one day, like, you know, like reading for class as one does. And like a Campus Police officer, like 2 of them come to my table and they're like, "Hey, you look lonely. Do you mind if we sit and have lunch with you?" And like, I thought that was really sweet because I was like, "Oh yeah, like I love some friends." And so I just think that interaction, like even that like small interaction, just kind of like goes to show like the friendliness of our police staff.
Cool. And I just saw this pop up in the questions. Bears aren't a problem on campus. But you know, every now and then they do kind of wander through. I mean, we are in the mountains, right? But in London, you can't go scaring people like that.
I realized after I said it, I was like, dang, now they're gonna think that like bears are just hanging.
No.
Like, the bears are really friendly. We get bears in the gardens and stuff, and like, they're not scary whatsoever. Like, the only time you would have to be concerned is if you get in between a mama bear and her baby bears. Like, one of our gardens, we have a mama bear and her baby bears that come through, and they just, you know, they're doing their thing. They're eating the berries. It's really not a huge thing.
A lot of the times whenever there is a bear spotted on campus, Campus Police will go, "Hey, there's a bear on campus. Please don't go near it." And then like on Snap, like literally your Snapchat, like I know that my freshman year this happened and my Snapchat was flooded with pictures of a bear. And I was like, guys, it's just trying to live its life and chill on a rock in the sun. Like, just leave it alone.
I just want to say, they're making it sound like bears are around all the time. I'm a senior about to graduate, and I still have not seen a bear on campus. So
It's like a maybe semester kind of thing that you might run into a bear, but definitely not.
I've seen 2 or 3 in my 3 years here.
Yeah, I've seen a handful, like maybe 3 or 4, but I've seen like 1 on campus. But like in Asheville, I've seen like a couple.
I saw a bear in the mall parking lot once. I was driving to Cookout with my friends at, I think it was 12:30 in the morning, and I was at the stoplight and I looked in the mall parking lot by where Sears used to be, and there was just a bear just like booking it across, and I was like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Pretty wild.
Incredible. So, all right, back to school and not bears. For my friends who have been RAs or RRAs, how hard is it to get into an LLC? And can you kind of describe what an LLC is and, you know, what they're about?
So I am the RA. Well, am I still an RA? I don't know. Of the Lead Living Learning Community, which is focused on
LLC.
it's focused on like social responsibility and like awareness stuff like that. So we went to like the Greensboro Civil Rights Museum. We went to a lot of talks on campus. We watched some movies. We just kind of do like hood huggers. Yeah, like just like generally fun things, you know. Maggie said mood. And so that's what ours is done. Cloud is for engineering students. These also change with like whatever's going on and like what students are interested in. So like I might be naming them now, but they might be different once we get there. With most LLCs, you'll be in a class with the people who live with you. My LLC only had like 9 out of 24 of my residents, but the one in Southridge that's called Thrive, yeah, for first gen students. That one was her entire hall. So it really just depends, whatever it is. Sankofa is like probably the second coolest next to lead. And that one's for like students of color. And it's like really good for just like bonding and like, cause you're in a PWI. So it's like good to have a community where you're like around people of color. What else? There's like Wanderlust, which is like honestly whatever y'all want to make it. 99% of the time with these LLCs, it's what you guys want out of it. So it's like a very general guideline, but like if that's what you guys are interested in, that's what we kind of tailor our events towards. Yeah.
Cool, thank you. So the Wanderlust one, my fiance actually was the RA for that one. I think the first year, and it was mainly like international students, which was really cool. So they got to like take field trips and go to museums as like a group, you know, just because they kind of wanted to find people from other cultures and get to hang out and such. But that one was really cool. LLCs are just a really cool way to get connected with other people who are interested in your same major or what have you. That's just the bulk of what it is.
And they're not hard to get into. They're not that hard to get into. Like if you put in the effort to fill out the application, as long as it's not like really popping, you should be fine.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. So one really quick, I can't quite remember. I think I know what it is, but I'm not entirely sure. Who can tell me, is there a literary arts magazine on campus or like?
Arden Stock? I don't know how to say her last name. Arden has like a literary arts magazine with like photography, poems, short stories, all of the things. It's beautiful. Freshwaters? Oh, I actually have it. It's called Freshwaters. Yeah.
It's called Headwaters. So anyone on campus can Freshwaters to Headwaters, and then Arden Stockdale Giesler, she's like the editor-in-chief of it this year, and there's a whole team of people. It's like a class you can take for credit to actually work on Headwaters, which is kind of cool. And so they'll kind of go through and pick which pieces of artwork and short stories and poems and all sorts of things that go into it. And then they publish it every year. So it's kind of fun. You could be published in a literary magazine as an undergrad, which is kind of cool.
Very cool. Thank you. Headwaters sounded right, but I just wasn't sure. So I appreciate that. Okay. So we know that like one of the perks of being a student is getting to ride the bus for free. What other perks can you think of? So like tickets to sports, to sporting events and things like that. Like what else would you kind of throw into that mix?
If you live in, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain that when you're living in the residence halls, you get an HBO account.
Yes, yeah, it's like HBO Go, right?
That's something I didn't know about until after I had already moved off of campus, which was, you know, I don't know if it would have changed my decision, but it definitely would have factored in a little bit more heavier. And then I mentioned earlier about the student rush tickets with the symphony. And then I don't know if this was mentioned before, but all regular season UNC Asheville sports games are free for students with your one card. I actually think I might have answered a question about this in the comments under the answered section. And then even off-season games sometimes are free. It just depends on like whether or not athletics and student affairs are able to work out some sort of deal. I know that January of my freshman year, the men's Big South basketball tournament came to UNC Asheville, and like this big game that happened between Winthrop and UNC Asheville was like free for all UNC Asheville students, which was really, really cool. I wasn't able to go because I had rehearsal, but I heard it was really fun.
Cool. Anybody else? Go ahead, London.
I have the copy of Headwaters. I also sent it to the group chat, but like it's like a whole thing. And like you can get your photography, poetry, like all this stuff in it, and it's printed, and they like put them out and you get to keep them. And so you get to have like a printed copy of your art, and it's like in a literary magazine. So it's super cool. And they do them every year, correct, Maggie? Is it once a year, once a semester? Yeah, it's like a thick one. So
cool. Thank you, London. Appreciate that. So all of us on this call have pretty much had experience with this. Let's talk about working on campus. So where do you go to find jobs? How easy is it to find a job on campus? And like what other opportunities are there aside from maybe being an RA or something like that?
Yeah, so I answered this question on the chat. You're given a OnePort account. You should have login and stuff for it when you are accepted. So I don't know who you'd reach out to that if you don't know what your login is, or you threw away that paper or something. But OnePort has this thing called Handshake, which is the jobs opportunities area. So it's not just restricted to on-campus jobs. You can also look at other stuff too. But if you are interested in an on-campus job, you can go there. All the postings are put up there. However, I will say, reach out to your departments, because some departments don't post in Handshake because they want to make sure that their majors are the ones who are getting the jobs. That's what the atmospheric science department does. We usually have 4 or 5 jobs that come open every year, and they are not posted. So definitely talk to your department if you want a departmental job. But if you just want a regular campus job, student rec is a great opportunity. I'm Camden, probably could talk a little bit more about student rec. Student ambassadors, especially after your first semester, when you get kind of familiar with campus and all that kind of stuff, definitely consider that. And then there's also Highsmith Student Union. Work study is a little different. So work study would be dealt with a little differently because that's like federally done. However, even if you're not work study, I'm not work study, but I still was able to get 3 jobs on campus over the course of my 4 years, and 3 of them I'm still doing right now. So it's definitely not hard to get a job if you want one.
The Academic Success Center in our library also hires tutors that are typically upperclassmen in the department. So I know that at least the music department doesn't do it. The music department doesn't do it through the library, so it's a little bit different. But they're typically like after you complete the initial like required, like for music, the music department is music theory. So for physics, it might be just like some base physics classes or what have you. After though that like typically an upperclassman finishes that sequence of classes, they can apply to those tutoring positions, and it is a paid position. And yeah, I have a couple of friends who were their department tutors that really, really liked it. And yeah, if that's something that you're interested in.
Camden, go for it.
Okay. I was just gonna say, any students who are proficient at like some kind of athletic activity, like yoga, meditation, kickboxing, like whatever you could think of, can actually get paid by the university to teach classes on campus, and then any other students can attend those for free. So yeah, and then also for campus rec, you could be like a lifeguard on the at the indoor pool we have on campus. You could also take students on different trips. So I saw like a skiing question earlier, I think. You could actually be like the guide on the trip, or like drive everybody to the slopes. And you can go for relatively cheap. I think that was the question. It's like, depending on where you go, it'll be like $40 or $50. And it's rentals, transportation, and a lift pass, all for that one.
Yeah. From my experience with that in the past, it essentially is like you pay for the transportation and the lift pass, and then the rest of it is just dependent on how much gear you need to rent from the school.
So as far as like working on campus goes, the Student Environmental Center is a really good place to work.
Not biased or anything.
No, not at all. But there are so many different opportunities, especially as a freshman. So with the Student Environmental Center, we have 23 employees total, and a majority of those are freshmen. So basically with each residence hall has 2 eco reps that live there, and they do, various events and stuff. But yeah, working for the Student Environmental Center is really great because you can work your way up, and there are like a lot of different positions that you can do. So you get a lot of different experiences with different areas. So yeah, if any of you are environmentally involved, apply.
It's also like not hard to get leadership positions on campus. Like Sean's a co-director of our SEC, and like she just got here. Like if you have like the passion and like you can finesse, like you'll get there. And like the career centers were really helpful with like getting your resumes together, mock interviews. I always say if you believe you can do the job, they'll believe you can do the job. So like don't think just because you're a freshman you can't get a job. Just slide in there. Just
I applied for the highest level job I could think of with its SEC, and I got it.
Yeah.
So possibilities are endless, y'all.
Mm-hmm. And just to kind of piggyback off of that, with piggyback off of London, with the leadership skills thing, also check within your department if there are any like not only employment but leadership opportunities. Because I know that my freshman year, there wasn't a lot of like leadership employment opportunities, but the school didn't have a string quartet, and I wanted a string quartet, and the school said that I could start a string quartet, and so I found other people that also wanted a string quartet, and we started one because the department staff was like, wow, you guys are taking this really seriously, like we'll work with you, and now we have a string quartet.
I can attest working for the Student Environmental Center is a pretty good job. I was an eco rep my freshman year. It was a super fun intro job. It kind of like allowed me to meet a bunch of different people on campus, which was super nice, and get to know some of the residents in my building through tabling and that sort of thing. So it was a lot of fun. There's so many different jobs available. They also pay decently well, which is nice. And they definitely, all of the on-campus jobs understand that you are a student first. And so they're really flexible and really make it a point to work with your schedule and make sure that you are putting schoolwork first and then kind of your job second, which is really important when you are a student.
Kind of going off sorry, Jenny, what Justin said earlier, if you're looking for like internships or things in your department, even if it's not like talking to someone like the head of the department, you can always talk to your professors because they get internships sent to them from places in Asheville, and you can be like, hey, I'm looking for an internship, and they will send you as many as they can that you are eligible for. And that's really awesome because I am looking for one right now, and I had a professor like send me a bunch of them. So highly recommend talking to your professors about that.
I was just going to piggyback off of what Allison said, and if you are looking for a job, I would really recommend looking for an on-campus job before you look for an off-campus job, because I've gotten in trouble multiple times at my off-campus job because they schedule me when I have class, and so I don't show up because I have class, or I have to go work on a group project and I can't get my shift covered, but I'm not going to compromise my education for a restaurant job that I have during college. And so yeah, it was a really big issue at one restaurant that I used to work at. So I would really recommend getting as much on-campus employment as you can before you think about moving off campus, just because it's more of a hassle.
Completely agree. Yeah, I started with campus rec, so I'm really biased, but like they hire a lot of students from your first year to if you're a senior and you just want a little part-time job on campus to be working while you're in class. But on campus, definitely they're just more understanding when it comes to scheduling you, and you're a student first, right? So that is like the motto of any on-campus job that you can have, and that's probably one of my favorite things about working on campus. But a good one for you guys. So what has been like one of the best experiences at UNCA that you've had so far? Camden, looks like you're ready.
All right, this just like randomly came to me, but some of our freshman years, like the first day of school, like before classes started, when the solar eclipse happened. That's just such a great memory for me.
That was amazing.
Yeah.
One for me was, it's kind of more in my department, but it's something I'm going to remember even after I graduate. We had Hurricane Michael making landfall in Florida, and I was taking my tropical meteorology class at the time. So my professor oftentimes would give tropical briefings before class, just so that way we're aware of what's going on. And this was a class of only 3 of us. So I would kind of like correct him sometimes on the briefing because I love hurricanes. I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina, so I live on the coast. And he finally was like, well, Justin, why don't you give the briefing? And I was like, I would love to. So the next class I gave the briefing, well, so happened that Hurricane Michael was making landfall. WLOS, the local news TV station here, or in Asheville, came to our class and was like, hey, Dr. Hannon, we really want to sit in on the class, sit on the briefing, and watch you brief. And he was like, yeah, sure thing. So I thought he was going to tell me, okay, Justin, let me do it, and then you can do it another day. No, he was like, it's your briefing, you're going to do it. So he kind of pushed me out of my comfort zone, and I got to brief in front of WLOS, and it was great practice because of the field that I'm going into. So that's like something that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
One thing that it happened last fall. So the Black Mountain College brings in like large guests, and a lot of the times the UNCA music department, the two universities or the 2 institutions will collaborate in order to bring a larger group to Asheville. And my sophomore year, they brought Brooklyn Rider, which is like, nobody knows who they are because they're a super famous string quartet that are based in New York. I've been listening to them since I was in middle school. And God, UNCA brought them to campus, and they sat in on 2 of our rehearsals. They played a concert for us. We did a master class with them where they like played with us at the master class, which like normally doesn't happen. And it was just like, I was so starstruck the entire week. And I just remember I was having a really difficult time with one section. And so I like was like, okay, like I'm just gonna play it, and like it's not gonna sound great. And like I played it and I thought it sounded terrible. And the first violinist looks at me and goes, you know what? I can tell you're really struggling, but that passage sounded really good. And I will always remember that. And just the fact that UNCA brought that opportunity, like I'm like getting teary-eyed thinking about it, just how amazing it was. I can't.
So I just recently changed my major from chemistry to earth science. So when I was looking at changing my major, I was really nervous. So one of my professors told me to go to a professor in that department, and I have never talked to this professor before. He was like completely new to me. So I like went to his office hours and I was like, hey, I'm looking into changing my major. And he showed me the entire department. He took me up to the geology lab and showed me what happened in the geology lab. He kind of like showed me what kind of jobs you can get with his classes. He showed me his entire like coursework that he was giving out to his students for the next week. So honestly, just go talk to your professors if you can. Like, they're really, really great people.
I think some of my favorite moments on campus have been with my campus ministry, because it's kind of a group of people that I really identify with. And I know there are a lot of different organizations and clubs that people are a part of that like kind of allow them to have people that think similarly to them and have similar interests. And so I kind of have found that through Asheville Wesley, and through them I found literally some of my best friends in the entire world. And I know like they'll be in my life for the rest of my life, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's something that I just like know is true. And so I've really, really enjoyed having the opportunity to get to know those people in that space, and all of the different activities that we've done together have been really meaningful and have definitely been a highlight of my college experience. So it's really helped me kind of create a community at UNCA, which I really love.
Cool. So London, you want to go?
Yeah, no, we have 5 minutes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I saw you lean up, so I was like, oh, she's got something to say. No, okay. All right, so you know what? Like, let's kind of address the world as it is right now, really quick. As a new student, like, what would you tell a new student coming in the fall if we're remote, right? So, like, if we're online classes, the whole thing about being a first year, like your first year in college is, it's something that should be experienced on campus, and it should be a great experience. But I mean, we don't know yet. We just don't know. So can you guys, like, what would you guys tell students who are incoming if we do go online? How could they cope with it? How could they still make it, you know, as good of a year as possible, or as good of a semester as possible?
I always say, like, life is tough, but we are tougher. And so I think that was Michelle Obama, actually. I really might have just stole that one. It was, yeah. But I've been really feeling it, because I'm like, this is difficult, lemon difficult. But you did not get into this school because they didn't think you wouldn't be able to handle things, you know? And something that our dean of students said that really just stuck with me is, like, aim for survival when you come into college, and then, like, everything else will be fine. Like, really just make sure, like, if you aim for, like, doing your homework and going to your Zoom class and eating 3 meals a day, then, like, everything else will happen from there. Like, just make sure you make taking care of yourself your first priority, your education your second, and then everything else will eventually fall into place.
I think a big thing with UNC Asheville, something that really struck me when I came here, is just how amazing the faculty and staff here is, as well as, like, the community here, because it really does feel like a community, and everyone is constantly reaching out to everyone else, just being like, how can I help? Like, how can I support you? Like, how are you doing? Just, like, checking in. I mean, all of my professors have been, like, before even thinking about academics, they've been like, how are you? Like, where are you? Are you good?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is going on in your life? Like, fill me in first, and then we can talk about class. Like, every single one of my classes has started off that way.
Mm-hmm.
And just being able to feel like, you know, these people actually genuinely care about me has been amazing. And I think that's something that's really special and unique to UNCA, because you're going to get that no matter what part of UNCA you're in, you know, like, it's really just like a universal thing that happens on this campus that's makes me feel a lot more, you know, secure.
And you shouldn't feel isolated, because just as, like, disappointed as, like, you are, like, the professors are. Like, these professors are just as disappointed about, like, the fact that our education's, like, really, like, changed. And so it can feel really isolating, but I promise we are all struggling. So, yeah.
Go ahead, Jenny.
I was going to say that the list of things that my counselor gave me to do during all of this: wake up before noon, change out of your pajamas, do your homework on the first couple of days of the week, take your medicine, and eat 3 meals a day. And I think that that is advice that, like, those 5 things, if you do that, you will be completely fine.
I think part of my fear for the class coming in is I think you'll be fine socially, all that kind of stuff. It'll kind of start making sense. But my fear is you haven't met your professors, and maybe that first semester you're not going to get the chance to, but I want you to know that the professors are there for you and they want to help you. I've had to kind of shift my focus. I can't go to their office anymore, but they're still there, and they want you to know that. They want you to reach out if you need anything, even if it's not school related. Don't feel scared to reach out to someone you don't know, because that's their job. That's what they're here to do. They're here to guide you through class or through life sometimes. So definitely kind of just, I know first year of college can be scary. Well, first semester of college can be scary, but yeah, just know that your professors are there for you, and reach out to them as much as you can, because this is their job. They're not teaching at this point. They're doing all this online learning, so they want to talk. That's what their job is. So definitely reach out to them.
Awesome. Thanks, you guys. That's good stuff. All right. Well, I guess we're at time now. So I appreciate all you panelists for being here and sharing your experiences, answering our questions. And our attendees, thank you so much for hopping on and joining us today. I hope you all enjoyed it. I hope you learned a lot. If you still need anything, if you have any other questions, feel free to reach out to me, Austin Huber, again, our office. Any of our counselors will be happy to talk and help and answer some questions. So yeah, hope you all have a great day. Thank you again.
Bye, everyone.